we'll move into, let's do introductions for people in person. So that, and I'll let Matty go first, and then we'll go around the room because he's our newest member. So welcome to the committee. Thanks for volunteering.
Thank you.
And here we just say our names, citizen at large. Since it's your first meeting, if you want to offer anything else, please.
Okay, so my name's Matty Rippel. I'm a citizen at large. I'm one of the founding members of the Sidewalk Stompers, which we started around 10 years ago. And I'm a landscape architect, and I do a bit of streetscape designs. And I live in Policia. I have two children who are teenagers, so I've got a bit more time to help in the community.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Welcome, Matty. So, all right, we'll start back to Dan.
Dan Rodriguez, Hillsborough Transit Authority.
Brenton Mosher, University of South Florida.
Sophia Garantiva with the Planning Commission.
Ben Gordon, TPO liaison.
David Aylesworth, citizen at large.
Jack Bay, citizen at large.
John Marsh, City of Tampa.
Sally Thompson, citizen at large.
Oleg Watson, Environmental Protection Commission, Hillsborough County.
Chris Fellerhoff, Hillsborough County Community and Infrastructure Planning.
Great. Thanks, everyone. So let's see here. We're doing attendance now by sign-in sheet. So if Ben didn't track you down, please sign in. And it looks like we have quorum, which is outstanding. Very good. So let's move into public comment. So is anyone here to speak for public comment? Anyone online for public comment? I don't see any hands raised. All right. If not, we'll move on to approval of minutes. So the minutes were distributed. If you're on the mailing list, you would have seen the minutes, but that they'll normally be sent out with an email package. Just ask that people review them. I mean, obviously check your attendance is correctly recorded. And if there's anything else that you noticed that was any omission. So are there any corrections to the minutes? Yeah.
And Ben already knows, but it has that I wasn't there, but actually I seconded the motion, so that's.
We'll give you credit. Okay.
I was there. He's correcting.
Okay. Thank you. Were there any other corrections? All right. Well, since you had the only corrections, Sally, can I ask you to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended? Okay. As amended by her amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Daniel Rodriguez, second. All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so minutes are approved unanimously. Thank you. Next, we'll move into members' interest and future topic requests.
I just have an announcement. I talked last month about the Florida Gulf Coast Trail, which is West Coast. There's going to be the DEP Office of Greenways and Trails has a webinar on Wednesday, October 8th at 10 a.m. with Charles Hines, who's the program director. And I gave Ben, so if anybody, I don't know if you want to distribute this or copy it to people, whatever.
Okay.
Tell you everything you wanted to know about. It's true.
Thanks, Sally. Helen?
I just made my announcement that this will be my last, retiring. So this will be my last meeting. I'll submit a resignation letter for the next meeting. And I'd like to introduce Luke, who is with the BPC, and he'll be representing BPC future meetings. So it'll be official.
Welcome, Luke.
How you guys doing? Yeah, Lucas. I'm a chemist over at Environmental Protection Commission, avid cyclist, a commuter as well, and I'm super excited. So,
Welcome.
thank you.
Thanks, Lucas. Look forward to working with you, and I appreciate your years of service, and we wish you the best in your retirement. So, Brendan.
So Jason Jackman has left the University of South Florida, so I have been his alternate. Ben advised me I needed to get an appointment letter to become the main principal person, and then we are also seeking an alternate, so we're going to try to do those at the same time. So I'll advise the committee, but I intend to be the principal person unless the president or somebody decides on something.
Great, thank you. Anything else? I guess last thing I'll just acknowledge and, my appreciation for all the people that volunteered for of course, I'm blanking on the name. World Car Free Day this weekend. I know Maddie was part of it. I saw a few of you there. I did the kids ride, which was a lot of fun. It's great to see, obviously kids are interested and parents are encouraging this use and of learning about, active transportation. So it was a well done event and good job, Maddie and all the others. Any other members' interest? Yeah, go.
Tim Horst, who's our bike guy, gave me some information. Just to let BPAC know that the city's goal is 75 miles of new bikeways by 2028 over 2025, 2026, 2027. There's 8 projects under construction, 2 out for design. They're kind of a mix of different things. About 1 mile of bike lane is basically one side. So if it's 2 sides, it counts as 2 miles. 19 of those miles are what is defined as high stress routes. So there's a lot going on right now because there's some repaving money. The city council took more repaving money in. So that's kind of what the mayor wanted them to do. So barring some new surprise from Tallahassee, that's our plan. So.
Is that all city? That's 75 miles.
Those are county projects that they do count a few things that we've been working with FDOT.
And FDOT funded too.
Some of it's just resurfacing, pavement money, and then some of them are things like twigs, which are pretty intensive projects. So, but if somebody has a question about it, individual projects at the time, I can bring back information.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right, so let's move on to action items. I think we just have 2 this week. So the first one, this multi-use trail, this is actually Ben. So SCTPA multi-use trails working group is the.
Okay, good evening, BPAC. Thank you for your patience on this. So I just wanted to provide a bit of a quick overview of the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance, in particular its multi-use trails working group, and what it does. Because we've been thinking that it's a process that BPAC should be more engaged in, that we should include you all a little bit more. So just for some background, a lot of you probably know that the Suncoast Transportation Planning Alliance is a regional planning compact that was founded among MPOs beginning in 1993 with just the MPO Chairs Coordinating Committee and was later rebranded to SCTPA in 2021. And it is about 8 counties actually, and 6 MPOs. And it also includes representation from some different advisors like the Florida Department of Transportation, the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council, and people others. It's been involved in regional trail planning for over 20 years now. In 1995, the West Central Florida Chairs Coordinating Committee Multi-Use Trail Committee was created, and that has staff representation from all 6 MPOs. And it is involved in trying to coordinate trails across county boundaries, make sure that they link up properly, prioritize funding, and advance construction at the state level. It has already been involved in a number of important trail projects, including the Friendship Trail Bridge construction from 1999 to 2008, the Courtney Campbell Causeway Trail in 2007, and the Gulf Coast Trail in 2016. which includes several segments within Hillsborough County and continue to Collier Lee. And that also engaged the Trust for Public Land quite a bit.
2016,
Is that, there was an asterisk here, I can't remember.
it just started like well, it was,
Sally, I went up to Tallahassee, in 2016 after I'd been here about a year, and that's when we first worked with the other counties.
that was,
those
okay,
trails
it was Florida Greenways and Trails, okay,
together, isn't it?
but nothing happened for 10 years.
Yeah, well, that was the beginning of the process.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, in the past, this little working group had a set of pretty systematic prioritization criteria, including just the safety of a project, whether it would advance mobility and connectivity, how much support is available for it, the economic benefits, and overall project readiness. And those were advanced on a scoring criteria. That was up until I think 2023. But beginning in 2024, there was a bit of a shift on this working group towards a shorter list, fewer submissions, and not ranking them within each MPO that's submitted. This was the overall map that we developed in 2024. And in 2025, it changed only a little bit. We had a couple substitutions, a few new listings. It's a bit longer than the 2024 one, but it still has stuck with the kind of unranked approach. So you all know about most of these. For Hillsborough, the 2024 priorities included the Tampa Bypass Canal Trail, the South Coast Greenway, and the Upper Tampa Bay Trail. And none of that changed for us in 2025. Pinellas focused on the Joe's Creek Greenway Trail in 2024, which still needed funding last I heard, and the Pinellas Trail Loop. They didn't request any changes in 2025. Pasco focused in 2024 mostly on their Orange Belt Trail, and in 2025, they revised their priority to just a slightly different segment from US 41 to Collier. Polk has revised their list to focus on just their Old Dixie Trail, Lake Parker, they had a Tin Rock connector, and Jackson Avenue Border Safety Project. And they removed their 2024 priority because it now has active funding. And then this was managed here, Sarasota's. They added 4 new priorities in, and those were the Beneva Multi-Use Regional Trail, the Legacy Trail at Beneva Road, Legacy Trail by Vista Street, and then they also had a plan for a trail along Manatee Avenue. It's in their planning phase. And they left in their one original priority from 2024. And Fernando Citrus is still focused on their Three Sisters Trail. No major changes requested that I remember. Actually, I think that they were for King Trail. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, we have been trying to reflect on potential improvements to this process. It might well be a good idea to go back to the more structured approach that we had in previous years. I definitely think that the working group could use more public involvement. It only involves MPO staff at the moment. And yeah, so I just thought that I'd bring it to all of you to see if you had any ideas for, for example, whether I should provide regular updates at BPAC meetings, or whether you would like to send a liaison even to future meetings. We have our next meeting coming up in November, November the 12th at 10 a.m. And it's just online. I had not thought about inviting committee members onto it at the time, so if you all would like a rep there in the future, we could schedule it more convenient times as well. But yeah, that's just my initial suggestion. We're open to comment, of course.
Any questions or? I guess I'll start. I'm not very familiar with this group. Apologies. what is the purpose of the rankings to prioritize funding? And if, I assume so, and if so, is the funding coming from the state, and wouldn't we just all go and, recommend Hillsborough County projects, right? So I'm just trying to understand how
I think
even
that,
the different NPOs, work together.
well, I mean, obviously Hillsborough County shares borders with all these different counties, so it makes sense to still have a lot to coordinate, interconnectivity. But yeah, and one of the ranking criteria that we used in the past was that intercounty connectivity. And that's still a basic expectation for the submissions to these lists, that they should connect to other county trails. That'd be true of regional.
Office of Greenways and Trails does a statewide ranking, and for example, the Gulf Coast is ranked. And so some of these might be part of it. There's the coast to coast, there's St. John's River to the sea, so there, this would be, I guess, more in detail. But there's the overall ranking that OGT does. And then I don't know, some of this would be eligible for Sun Trail funding and some would be eligible for OGT funding or whatever. And then even local.
I mean,
But like, yeah, Chris, you can talk about what we're doing.
I mean, I've worked with Ben on this in the past, and I mean, we only put forward those 3 of our trails, which are regional. Now, we happen to be focusing on getting Sun Trail money, so they're kind of our local priorities as well, and we aren't. But soon we'll be kicking into the stuff that we've got the community investment tax funding for, and things that we still want to spend some of that on some of these regional ones, but we will be looking to do that, and some of our general fund revenue that we have available to go to the local stuff, and this is the stuff that we are intending to pursue Central funding for because it is regional in character. So getting on this list and coming to an agreement with our neighbors does, as I understand it, give some signal to the state when they're awarding those things that these are projects that really would have regional impact.
Right. So they're looking for local representation that can help say that this is a good way to do it, this is a bad way to do it.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And what are projects that are really regional in scale if the state's going to be handing out money for things that are supposed to be regional in scale?
Yep.
That if the neighboring counties have come to agreement with one another, which of their projects are regional, that helps get there. Because there's a question like on the Central, it's like, are you on a regional trails list? But is this project named on that list? So we want to make sure the answer is yes. We expect to get money from this thing.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I guess, what other MPOs have representation, and do they have their BPACs and things like that involved, or would we be the first?
You all would be the first. It's definitely something that I plan to encourage on the committee from here on out. And actually, the reason that we're waiting until November to hold the next meeting is that we're waiting to get the tentative work program from FDOT, obviously, and that will inform what BPAC projects are getting funding, and will also, of course, inform the working groups priority recommendations as well.
Sorry, one more question, so I understand what the recommendation is. Like, are these committees open to the general public, or they, or do MPOs appoint members, and you're proposing that rather than just appoint staff, we include committee members in the number of seats you have? Is that, I'm trying to understand why.
It's very much just an informal cooperative meeting. I don't tell very formal motions or votes, but I think that just having committee members sitting and started attending would be good just for representation.
I mean, Deb participates in it, I participate in it. We usually get someone from the city if we can. The other counties send people.
I'm just saying back what I think I heard. Is it fair to say, let's say nobody made a motion and this wasn't voted on or was voted down.
That's
Then anybody could still come to one of these meetings and participate. In other words, this isn't required to get a seat at the table. This is.
Yeah, it's not, I can send out I can send out the Teams link right away. I think I'll check in with the others to be sure, but I don't see any problem with that.
And if Chris is going anyway, can we appoint him as
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know, I'm there for county. But I mean, it's mostly a staff kind of working group, but it would just show some additional investment, I guess, from the BPAC being formed and involved. But I think certainly, I mean, do you all, given what Ben said, if we continue with those as our regional trail, I mean, from the county, we've got the Upper Tampa Bay, the Bypass Canal, and the South Coast Greenway. All of those, we used to break them down by segment for this list, but for the purposes of this list, we speak very generally of the corridors as our regional corridors. So we make sure those are on the list. We used to have a lot of kind of very detailed ranking then across the region list, which I don't think we're really ranking the list anymore, are we?
No.
Because it got to be like, well, we should have some factors that favor the rural communities and some factors that favor the urban communities. And then it got so that there was not much difference between them. There wasn't much differentiation on the list. So we just decided to have a list that says if it's on here, it's a regional priority. So that's what I represent on behalf of the county, is that those three corridors are our regional priorities. I don't know if the city's still participating in it or intending to participate in it again. I guess we could, extend it to say the entire Gulf Coast Trail corridor, which includes South Coast Greenway and then runs through the city, is a regional priority.
We talked about that last month. Just
For
to
the,
determine that.
yeah, but to communicate that for this group, and maybe if we need to name the specifics of this. That's all I could think that we would need to amend our approach on, unless somebody here really, and so I'd be happy to be that representative if that's the message, is that we support those as our representative regional trails, unless somebody has another idea that wants to insert something local or that's we haven't mentioned.
Yeah. No, but thanks for I'm just trying to understand it, and you guys are doing a great job.
Unless Ben has something else in mind.
If, my view is, I'm supportive of these kind of things. And then also selfishly, if, I'm so happy we have quorum tonight that, sending people off to competing meetings, it doesn't, not competing, but I'm just saying there's so many hours in people's lives, right? And so, my focus is, selfishly is on this group. But of course, I think everyone in this room probably is very appreciative of this activity and grateful for anyone that volunteers for it. And if there's people in this group that want to be, then absolutely, I would support nominating a member. Yeah.
Just reflecting on I mean, if there's somebody who's probably a citizen at large who is really interested in taking a deeper dive into what the interlocal and interorganizational processes are, this is educational in that regard, and you can get that. I don't know that we don't need like more votes to carry our view or anything like that. I think it's just an opportunity to get further involved in one cog of the important overall. Ultimately, it goes to funding, right? I want to be able, when I send a Sun Trail application in, I want to say, yes, this project is on all of our regional lists that we compare with our neighbors, as well as it's important to us. So that's why, that's at the basic level why it's important. We'll have that covered with or without additional representation. But if you're really interested in those processes, it's an opportunity to learn more and deepen your involvement beyond coming to the meeting if you're so interested.
How often are you talking about meeting?
I think we met 3 or 4 times last year. I think that was beginning around January.
And this is different from whatever the other meeting is of.
The Tri-County.
Yes.
I think I look at the regional trail projects and I think it's important for us to keep on top of what's going on, because like, for example, the Courtney Campbell Causeway Trail upcoming is the widening and all that. We need to be on top of that. The Gulf Coast Trail, there are components of I mean, we just need to have a report, and maybe at some point, if somebody wants to volunteer to do that, to be the representative, I might attend, if I'm in town on, just to hear what's going on, but I think we probably need some new people to get involved.
So this builds towards revising this list, if need be, every year at like a June meeting is when their board votes on this to approve this annual list as being updated. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, we could also, once that process starts, we could schedule a meeting, an agenda item here where I or you or the two of us could say, okay, question before us is, what should we put forward as regional priorities on behalf of the county? And we could have that discussion in here to see if there's anything else that we need to specifically name the Courtney Campbell or whatever the city is running the Gulf Coast Trail on. Do you want to start entertaining that Plant City Connection Trail as a regional corridor for the statewide purposes? We could maybe do it that way too. I don't know what you think.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
like a good
going off the
idea. I
top of
can
my head.
also just make a habit of sending out the link to the working group meetings too, just so that, I mean, maybe somebody does not want to commit to trying together every month, but they do want to drop in once or twice, for example. But yeah, I like the idea of a sort of report back.
And how does this fit into whatever statewide plan, DEP or whoever comes out with? Because we would want to make sure that our corridors are included in it.
The statewide plan happens on a 4 or 5 year cycle, which it takes about 3 years to update it. So,
Yeah.
right. So they just approved one, I think, last year. So which
That was-
means probably next year they'll start the process for the next 5 year update. And that's a separate process in a way.
Right.
But I think that, again, being on this list demonstrates to them that, oh, yes, the neighbors recognize these. If Hillsborough builds this trail, it's going to help the regional connectivity for all of its neighbors, and they're in some sense of agreement on that. And that will persuade them to, like that Plant City thing says it wants to link to Lakeland. Polk County is in this group, aren't they? Yeah. So, we've had those conversations and some coordination on that. So that could be a beginning step. Like if that's a long-term goal to get that Plant City connection onto the statewide map, getting it on this list in advance of the next update of that would probably be a smart thing to do.
Because if you don't do it, then it may not get on. And then
It may not get on, and then it wouldn't be eligible for a Sun Trail grant for 10 years. Till the next time comes around and you try to get it on.
And we're in a position right now in Hillsborough County where we can, I think we've been doing catch up for a while. And we're in a position now where we can be more sort of aggressive or whatever, but it's a long-term project. But, I mean, just like the 2016, when I saw that, I was thinking, I understand what you're saying, wait, but it really hasn't until about 3 years ago. It didn't start. Charles Hines was hired by the Trust for Public Land to coordinate it. Nothing was happening. Just be smith.
Then you would do that though, it needs to have a very broad stroke on a map that says, we want something here, and then it sits for a while until somebody's ready to do it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to have this committee more involved. Planning side of it, whether you do it through a liaison or through existing members like Chris. And then they said coming to that meeting with more ideas and more weight from this entire committee and not just specifically from Hillsborough County.
Yeah.
So, so either way, I think
Yeah.
kind of or just have a scheduled meeting where you present to us.
And maybe some of the new people on the committee might want to listen in and whatever and decide, because it's nice to get new blood,
Absolutely.
Well, inside.
new interest. Yes, Chris, you've got to do it anyway, but we.
No, well, it's technically a TPO working group, so Ben could do it without me. But, you know, I like to make sure that the county's interests are,
And I want to make sure you do that too.
but I personally think it'd be a good idea to have like the stamp of approval of BPAC when we go to them and say, okay, these are our regional trails for now, and that we would. I'm not going to make the decision myself. Being the county representative, I'm not going to decide what's missing because I've got my trails covered. But if other stuff is missing and we want to get it in, we should engage across all jurisdictions.
That's very helpful. Thank you. I agree with Elaine's sentiment as well. But yeah, we discussed a couple different ways to do it. So I don't know if there's no other discussion, maybe one way to move forward is ask, is there a member that would be interested in this appointment? And then I think we would entertain it. If not, then the other approach that was discussed, which I like, was having either you report, whether it's virtually or whether you give presentations, as Chris suggested, and bring our feedback back. That's another way to do it.
And I do like the idea of sending the link of the upcoming meetings. I mean, maybe not even have somebody formal, but just if somebody's able to, like Sally mentioned, I think that's helpful. Where somebody might be able to jump on and have interest in it for the next meeting, that they would be willing to kind of put forth their name too.
Yeah. So with that next meeting on November 12th, that's also for the BPAC that month as well. So I could probably report back either way.
Okay. It sounds like discussion's done. Is there a motion as?
Do we need one?
Well, it's an action item and it was requested, so, but I agree. I'm not sensing the need for one.
Yeah.
But the floor is open unless,
You know, we have a couple of new people that are being proposed. We have a couple of new people attending. Maybe somebody would like to take that on and roll up their sleeves and learn a little more. But without having seen anything or the report, it's a little hard to decide.
yeah, I agree. That was just, yeah. If there's someone interested, I don't want to deny them the opportunity, but it sounds like there's plenty of opportunities to be involved, and it sounds like you'll report back.
Yes, I'll report back. I will begin sending out the link.
Okay. Thank you. And thanks everyone helping bring me up to speed on this group. So, okay. So our next action item, also with Ben, is at-large membership applications.
Yes. Well, I won't waste time pulling up the application when we have the applicants here already. And does anybody want to be the first to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I guess should I say, let's see these folks.
Oh, yeah, let me stop sharing.
You. What do you gotta do?
Yeah, just head right up and,
Just. Hi, everybody.
Right.
I'm Jorge Webb. I own a bike shop in Seminole Heights. I do mobile bike shop, bike delivery, pretty much exactly that. I grew up in Hillsborough County. I live in home in Hillsborough County. I lead bike rides in Hillsborough County multiple times a week, multiple times a month. You can attest to this. I didn't actually know I was going to be here. I did move away for a little bit from Chris and Tommy, but I came back. And I was actually recommended to this by Brent Buffington, the handsome man of the Karen McLaren Park. He told me to apply. And we know each other from riding bikes. And I think the more you talk to me, you'll realize that I pretty much know everybody I know in the town from riding bikes. And yeah, I'm just curious to learn more, really. I spend a lot of time like wrenching and sweating in a garage and not a lot of time in office buildings, like doing this. I thought this would be like an advantageous way just to like learn more about what's going on. And it would be like educational for me and like my customers, as well as just like my friends, people who are bikes with. I'm actually pretty curious about this thing we just talked about, but I didn't want to
about it. Stay. I might be interested. I don't want to like get it over my head and then show up at the meeting and like make a fool of myself, misrepresent the BPAC or anything. But I could be interested in that if something happens next month. But that's basically it. I mean, you know, I'm kind of an open book. Actually, Ben also have some mutual friends. I have friends that used to be on the MPO. And it's just Tampa, you know how this year. So that's it. I mean, I'm really just interested in learning. This is all really new. You know, like I kind of know what's happening when I read like a news article, but that's about it. I don't know all the processes and like, the specifics of how this works. But finding relations and thanks.
Thanks, Larry. Ben, did you want to do introductions for all of them, or do you want us to ask, see if there's any questions one at a time?
Yeah, maybe questions. Let me.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate your interest. What's that?
I get back up.
Yeah, up to you, but appreciate your interest. I have one question, but I'll open it up to the floor first. Any questions? Should I go ahead? Okay, my one is about your availability to attend meetings in person.
Yeah, it's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Especially once a month. And the beauty of like being self-employed is I can make myself free during the time slot. So that's pretty nice.
Okay, and the reason I ask, obviously, better participation when people are here in person than they, you know, although we do allow virtual participation. But we also have a quorum requirement in our bylaws, so we can't vote on things without people here. So I know nobody can be expected to attend 100%, but I appreciate that. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
You repair bikes, but you don't sell bikes? Is that the?
I will occasionally sell like used bikes. As far as
But you're not a bike shop, you're a bike repair shop.
Yeah, correct. As far as I'm concerned, there's enough places for new bikes.
Okay,
You know,
I just found your.
thank you. It's real. It's true. I would hand out business cards. That seems a little. So yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Anything else? Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Right.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? My name is Rita. I'm with Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream. We're my partners, Midtown Tampa and Clearwater Beach, but I'm here about the Midtown Tampa shop. We're in the process of working with pedal pushers promoters to fill out the application to make our establishment a bike-friendly business. We've been here for 5 years. I know all of Midtown is working on making that whole area bike-friendly and putting in more bike racks. You know, I participated in the World Car Free Day and the bike to work event. And so I'm here to present that.
You're interested in joining the committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Am I on the wrong side?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yes, I'm interested in joining the committee.
Okay, as an at-large member. How many vacancies do we have, by the way?
About 10.
It's at least 4, I
Okay.
think. Right, Dan? What's the number of vacancies we have? For
It's 5 or 6 by now. We
Okay.
had a resignation today, so I'm losing track.
Okay.
Questions?
I'll ask my same question again, your availability to make. Well, actually, I met you on Saturday and you gave me a coupon for Venture, so she does have that. And I really loved you had like a chest on the back of your bike that was outstanding, so.
I ride the bike everywhere.
I love it. But your availability to attend
Yes.
meetings in person?
Yes.
Okay, so they're monthly now. We voted last month to potentially move to every other month next year. But that hasn't been, it's got to be voted on by the TPO board.
Yes.
But so next year might be a real.
So you ride your bike everywhere. Do you commute or do you just recreational like the ride?
I live over on Clearwater Beach. I ride my bike everywhere. And when I'm in Tampa, I ride my bike over here and bike everywhere. So I'm independent, but my office is Midtown Tampa and Clearwater Beach.
You
So
ride your bike from Clearwater Beach here?
I will if they put a trail out. Get me here. But I've written, to Safety Harbor and Dunedin and St. Pete and things like that. And I moved here from Fort Collins, Colorado, so we're very bike friendly out there. So I want to continue that out here.
So you work here in Hillsborough County, but you live in Pinellas County?
My office is in Hills,
Okay,
or Midtown Tampa. Ben and Jerry's shop.
Is that,
So that would, our
By the bylaws.
address will actually be.
It's a question for Ben or Wade. If she works in the county, that's acceptable
Yes.
for being on, because, okay.
Thanks.
Perfect. Any other questions?
And normally I do have ice cream, but I.
Fine,
Yeah,
guys. All right.
Make
Thank
a
you.
vote to
Thanks,
get
Rich.
extras.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Ellen. Sure.
Hello, my name is Ellen Gallagher. I too ride bikes. I know Brent from cycling. I think we've been on rides together. We don't recognize each other without our helmets on. So it makes it difficult. But Ben reached out to a friend of mine and asked if I wanted to attend. I'm simply an avid cyclist. I live here in Hillsborough County. Would love to, see if we can continue to make the community here in the greater Tampa Bay area more bike and pedestrian accessible and safe. And I think, just to preempt your question, I do travel some for work, but I try to block my calendar for the next couple meetings to attend in person if I can. I only live a couple miles away, so it seems rather feasible, but unfortunately I do have work trips that pop up. And if I can't attend virtually, I'll do my best to, or if I can't attend in person, do my best to attend online.
Thank you. And I think, thanks for the comment, and we appreciate that. And we do actually have a process for excused absences where people are traveling for work and know about it in advance of just let
Okay.
Ben and I know before the meeting. But every year we do track people's attendance. But people with excused absences, obviously, we all have reasons we can't make it. So, but it does sound like you are able and interested in attending, but
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
And you live what part of town generally?
South Tampa,
Okay.
kind of near Burns.
I was looking for, trying to keep track of general distribution of the membership through the county.
Yeah.
So we have two city residents and a city worker so far tonight. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, just to clarify, we checked, thank you, Gil, we have 6 citizen at large vacancies right now. And it's your decision as a committee whether to vote on the applications in a block as one or individually, however you want to go about it.
Okay. Yeah, is there any other discussion on, I think everyone has the questions. I don't know if there's any other discussion. Well, if not, then yeah, I'll open the floor for a motion to, yeah.
I was just gonna, thank you guys for coming. One of the big things we're looking for is to actually have people come here. So we very much appreciate you coming and being a part of this.
Thank you.
If you want, I can put a motion together. I would put a motion together that we approve all 3.
I'll second.
Right, so there's a motion to approve all 3 candidates through one vote. Any other discussion? All right, if not, then yeah, show of hands. Oh, sorry, Chris.
Just a point of discussion. We have vacancies to spare. So I would support, I intend to support all of these folks, but as we go recruiting, I think we do need to keep an eye open for geographic distribution of our membership. And that's something I would consider heavily if we had competition for slots, but we don't. But I certainly appreciate everyone's investment in showing up tonight and the way they spoke. But I'll just put in a plug for that as something to keep mindful of in the future.
Yeah, I agree. All right, then any other discussion? All right, so maybe we'll just vote on all 3. So all those in favor of accepting these candidates in, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so members are unanimously approved. We appreciate your interest and volunteering. There, just point of order, you're not officially a member until the TPO board votes. Probably Wade was going to say that. But and I don't know when, maybe he can tell us when that vote might occur.
I believe it will not be at the
It may be a nice team. I think we'll have time.
Okay, but can we add them to the mailing list so they're notified of next month's meeting? We encourage you to come and join our ranks and you'll be notified separately but that's just a formality. So thank you all again. Thanks for coming and thanks for your interest. Okay, so that finishes our status reports. We'll move into old and new business.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe you have one status.
We do. Sorry. Thank you. It was on I flipped pages and so we do have, yeah.
I'm gonna post this.
Okay.
Because we were not able to get it. FDOT is shopping this all around the
Okay.
committees. And boards and city councils and county commissions throughout the state. This is the statewide SIS, that's the Strategic Intermodal System, which includes all of our interstates, many of our toll roads, some of our larger arterials. They have a funded list through 2050, then they have a unfunded needs plan, which is what they are currently updating now. So this is a brief video from them about the unfunded needs plan. And if you think about some of those larger facilities, like including Gandy Boulevard or Dale Mayfield Highway or some other ones, those are major arterials, some of which do have bicycle facilities or pedestrian. They all should have pedestrian facilities at some point, except for the limited access ones. So just something that we should stay on top of and advocate for safety in those.
Excuse me, Chair. If you
Yes.
can hear, yeah, so we can't hear you guys right now. If Wade is still speaking, we can't hear you online.
Are you able to hear the recording, Gail, online?
I won't know until I go back to the recording, but
Oh,
what I can tell you is that we missed a little bit, so I don't know.
okay. The recording has been playing for about 2 minutes since I stopped speaking. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So if that's what it was, yeah, we were not hearing that online.
apologies for those online. We will have to work on that, but I guess for now it's just going to be an in-room only presentation.
Do they have, they should be able to pull it up on their computer.
I think it's.
Yes, I would.
Because I'm noticing that I'm able to pull the stuff that I told you I wasn't able to.
Because this presentation came through a bit later from FDOT, I'm not sure it's the one in your packets, but if it links directly to that site, it is the one. So, but I'm just going to go ahead and replay it and we'll go through this and Jensen is probably online if you all have any questions. I'd be the best person to answer that, but my recommendation, just in thinking about this plan, is that we would be happy to bring back to you which of our major bike network facilities sort of line up with the both funded and funded SIS projects and see if there are recommendations from the committee on to how we might connect using those. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Was that a real person or was that AI?
It was a real person. Her name is Lori Kent. She did present to a couple of our committees while they were putting this video together.
I guess it was still.
She's all done it now. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, so now, sorry, apologies for that. Now we're ready to move into old business and new business. So we have a few items on the agenda. Are you doing the first one?
Yeah.
Walk up remembrance.
Yes. Okay, just a few quick things I wanted to touch on before we get into the real discussions. I wanted to just share that the Florida Gulf Coast Trail has a new logo that debuted recently. Sal, you might know more about this than me, but oh, we should screen.
Yeah, they had a contest and we voted.
Yes.
I didn't.
Did you have an entry or did your vote didn't enter?
I think the one I voted for didn't win. They were over somewhere.
That's a very rolling, windy trail for Florida.
Yeah. Okay, and another thing on our radar is well, yeah, actually, never mind with the other one. I thought I had it out here right now. But anyway, moving on into BPAC outreach. I'll get to the other in a minute.
Okay.
But can we, yeah, David, can we start with the BPAC outreach planning?
Sure. Okay, so we've been talking about this for a few months, and I finally had time to draft my first letter, which upon reading it today, I hated, but it's to get some thoughts out there. And so it was just sent out late this afternoon, so probably some of you haven't even seen it yet. But let me kind of tell you my thoughts and my criticisms of this as a first draft. My goals are like, let's keep it short, right? When we write letters, we want something that people will read, right? So, you know, I don't want to, my kids give me the TLDR if I put, you know, too many words in front of them. So, so we want something short, but we also don't want to make any assumptions that people know what a TPO or an NPO is and what a BPAC is. So I kind of started with, you know, like a couple sentence, like bottom line up front, where we're giving you some information and asking how we can help you and how you might be able to help us. And then I have a second paragraph describing the TPO. Most of that is just language I cribbed off of the TPO website, shortening it as best I could to hit the key points. But I still, you know, maybe be ruthless with your pen if you like, or if you have time to provide feedback, say, you know, this is redundant. We don't need to say that. And then the third one is just saying, you know, offering our help if people are looking for groups because they want, you know, a voice, or their organization wants a voice, and they're looking to people that might be able to help them, whether it's make introductions or advocate on their behalf to the TPO. And then secondly, how they can get involved, which is attending meetings, speaking of public comment, listening to presentations, and joining our committees, right? So, and then I put links, included links for, you know, for those three topics: joining the committee, what do we do, and how to find our schedule of meetings, right? So that's kind of what was going through my head. I think if anything, my first draft felt like, when I read it this afternoon, felt a little bit too like not direct enough, like we want to help you, we want you to help us if you can, right? So maybe that's kind of some of the feedback I would offer to myself, but
Well, along those lines, if you do something like a who, what, when, where, and break it up and maybe have a couple of pictures, that would, because this is just too dry. It's
yep,
just,
I agree. Yeah.
And, okay, I liked it. I thought it was-
But it's not
it is.
something that is gonna,
To attract, but I think that you serve the purpose.
I'm not saying that
I
the
thought it
what's
was-
in it is, I would just sort of reform it.
So,
Thank you. Yeah, all the feedback is appreciated. Please be.
so like I read through it, I thought, hey, you know, this is pretty good, it's really direct. The only part that I would add more clarity is how do we advocate for your organization? So maybe a little more clarity on that, or example or something like that.
Yep.
I have, so I first thought it wasn't bad, you know, my first reaction to it. I'm not really sure who your audience is again.
Not sure either. Anybody's gonna listen. That's probably.
It's normal people to like data tested normal people.
What are normal people?
Not people
That
that.
got contaminated by being on government committees, because it
Right.
made perfect sense to me, but I was at like a ecological startup group last week.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just threw in, they started talking about alternative transportation stuff and carbon, and I said, oh yeah, I'm on the BPAC, and then they don't know what that means, and I said,
Yeah.
oh, bicycle and pedestrian, and they go, oh, so you give advice to bicyclists and pedestrians? And I'm like, no, we do. Then they go, oh, you mean like bike lanes and sidewalks? And you go, yeah, we push for that, among other things. So yeah, I mean,
That's great feedback. I even, when I reread it today, I saw the word facilities, and I'm like, that's not a word that I cringed. I was like, people don't use that word. People say, you know, sidewalks and bike lanes and stuff like that. So that is good feedback. So yeah, if anyone can share it with, you know, their spouses and kids and friends, that actually that's a really good idea.
So reading it, I thought our target group are like bike clubs, you know, the school clubs, elementary school, pedestrians, you know, kids walking to schools. That's the audience that I thought that we were trying to reach out to.
And that's what we've discussed in the past. I agree. That is the audience. But and to both your points, it's not transportation professionals. And so we have to use the word force.
expand it to sustainability groups, because like at the meeting I was at, the first thing they were talking about, well, the biggest, you know, producer of carbon in the Tampa Bay area is transportation. We should be switching to these other modes. And those are kind of natural allies and probably overlap anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But it might be helpful to get, you know,
Yeah.
when you want to be advocating, get some other groups than the initial 150 people.
I do view this as, you know, hopefully kind of a living document. It's not like some one mass mailing on this day. It's like, hey, give this to your friends. And when somebody asks Ben what we do, you know, in 6 months, we have something to send people. Sophia.
Kind of along the lines of what Sally was saying, maybe adding a little bit more, something visually to catch people's attention.
Mhm.
I know you said it's a letter, but to me, it reads more like maybe a call to action. So maybe, or, I don't know if this is something, Ben, that Harmony might be able to look at. Harmony is the communications and outreach coordinator for the TPO. So like, maybe she can put it in Canvas once we know exactly what we want to say.
I love that. I could see this being distributed via, you know, via email as we get contact info. And it is like, you know, bike shops, bike clubs, riding clubs, walking clubs, you know, PTAs, whatever, you know, who we initially think, but definitely anybody. And so there may be also a case to put some of this on social media, which would lend itself to definitely having something more to pause the scrolling. Thank you. That's a good idea. And I would welcome any, Harmony or any, the graphic department's help. Yes.
When I first got it, so did you?
I was just gonna throw it out there. In my business, we're really encouraged to explore the use of AI to help with this stuff, and I use it basically every day. So if you are not comfortable, I'm happy to leverage the like Microsoft Copilot, ChatGPT. These tools could take something like this. You could say, simplify it, put in an ask, just an idea.
a great idea. I do the same. I haven't run this through that yet, but that's a great suggestion. Thank you. Or, sorry, Chris was next. We'll try and go in
Well,
order.
when I first got it from Ben, my brain kind of went to, this is a letter trying to recruit members, which when I read it closely, that's not, it seems like it's more, we're letting community organizations, if you will, of various types know that if they have a concern related to bike ped stuff, that they can come to us and we are their sort of entree into the world of decision makers, I guess. And that we can lend them some advocacy help. Is that closer to what you?
So this started off as a shameless attempt to recruit new members, and we tried to soften it, and we end up with maybe making it too subtle. But that's absolutely was our objective. But part of recruiting members is just getting people aware of what we do, because we don't know who's going to tell who and who's going to tell.
Yeah,
but so it is a dual mission, and you're picking up, maybe it's not clear.
Well, I mean, and that's why I think that as a precise description of who we are and what we do, this is really good. But that kind of like, so for somebody to pick it up and say, well, why do I care about this? It's like, does your school have, are kids struggling to walk safely to your school, or is your neighborhood not feel safe? Come tell us about it. Or are you personally already, someone who's activated and organized about this, and would you like to, we're looking for members. We also want the community to know that we're here to help, and put both of those things up front so that you could get both of those. Someone may come for public comment and tell us about a problem, and we'll see what, we can do for it, because it's intimidating to go before the actual board or something like that. And you'll have, a sympathetic ear if you start here or something.
Yeah. No, I struggle with that. I personally,
For those purposes up front, I think.
I do think getting both messages out is helpful. Please let me know if anyone disagrees, but I like your.
I think one document can do that, but
Yeah.
I think you need to be a little more direct up front about like,
Yep.
hey, do you want to be involved? Or, hey, do you have a problem that you need help with?
Yep. So.
I have two thoughts. When I first started getting involved with greenways and trails a number of years ago, one person was saying, well, why don't you imagine a country like having an interstate highway, have an interstate highway of green, where you can walk out of your door and do blah, blah, blah. And then on another was, last week I'm on the Agency on Bay and Coastal Management, and we were looking at, headlines in 5 years to kind of help us with what our mission might be. And the little group I was in, the person who came up with the headline, he was a mayor of somewhere, said, "A long walk in the shade. The newly completed Florida Gulf Coast Trail connects Tampa Bay and Collier County and beyond." So in other words, have some sort of snappy headline, and then you go into, well, what can I do to do it? But so you this isn't going to necessarily catch somebody's attention unless you're a nerd like us.
It depends on who it goes to, and we may end up needing a couple of variations of this for different audiences, and I agree. And by the way, people who are I'm trying to take notes, but anybody that has these great suggestions that has like an example, if you could just shoot us an email.
That's a great suggestion.
No, it is, but you were just talking about something you read, and
Yeah.
so they're all good suggestions, and if you can, anyone who can send me a link of something for all of us to look at, that would help. Thank you. Jorge, I think
I was just thinking of other places, and I agree with sustainability too, like the urban farms and like even like shelters that are in, because a lot of those people are the people that are on bikes either on purpose or because that's all they can be on. I just think that's a really great place to like find the real people we were talking about earlier. And yeah, of course the bike clubs and everything else, but even the University of Tampa, USF, but also farms and like I don't know, people that are interested in let's say the environment or that kind of thing. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, promoting active transportation usually goes hand in hand with a lot of this.
I was just thinking, I mean, this is more for distribution than that, but like latch it on. You mentioned the League of American Bicyclists, bicycle friendly communities, the businesses and all that kind of type thing of like reaching out to them. If they have the infrastructure there, they're having people that are interested, and that almost might be a test bed for some of these letters too. So making it to them.
That's a good idea. Yeah, no, our thought was that, there's all different types of organizations, right? Some of them are organized and maybe have their own monthly newsletters and some of them might distribute this as is to their membership. Some of them might write a little blurb about it in their newsletter. Some of them might just informally mention it. So I do think this is, but what started as kind of a grassroots effort, which has already, borne fruit and I'm grateful for that. And we want to keep that going. We want to have a list of people, and we want to have, sometimes if I'm honest, we talked about this last month, we're trying to fill a meeting with something that may not be squarely in the BPAC lane, right? And so having more people that are bringing content to us will help us not, have, I won't name names, but yeah, some of them in the past were like, ooh, is this, what are we, is this relevant to us? And I think we're trying to solve all these problems. So it's been very good feedback. Is there any more?
I just think when you talk about the trails around the state and around whatever, we've got a lot of stuff going on and people, lots of times they don't know, well, what can I do? And they don't even know that this is going on.
That was me. 3 years ago, I couldn't have told you what MPO stood for. So
What does it?
Metropolitan Planning.
I'm just.
I struggle.
Except it's called TPO.
It's spelled TPO. That's right after I joined. They to mess with me. They changed it. Okay, I appreciate it. So we'll do another draft of this. If anyone has any other thoughts after you, and I know you all haven't read it, seen it yet. Everything's welcome. And yeah, we may end up just deciding to have a couple different variations. I love the idea of if Harmony or anyone, I have no skills in that area to make it prettier, other than ChatGPT. So can let it steal somebody else's copyrighted information instead of us.
Would this be something you'd want to put on the website, put on?
That's up to the TPO. I like that idea.
To get.
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems with our website is there's not a URL to the BPAC, right? You have to go to the board and then go down, scroll down, and then go to committees, and then scroll down. So maybe that's something that's not something to solve with this. In other words, I'm not sure it gets found on the website, but yeah. That's a TPO decision, not a committee decision.
And then that could be something with visitor center or with other, you can come to town.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we've run this around. Appreciate the feedback. Did you want to do the walk of remembrance, or do you want to move on to
Yes,
the
yeah,
project?
that was what I was fumbling around for a couple minutes ago, but let's see. Yeah, so I just wanted to briefly promote this wonderful annual event being sponsored by our very own Gina Torres. It is just a day of remembrance to commemorate the victims and survivors of car crashes, traffic crashes. I can't.
Just what you're looking for.
Yes, what we were handing out a few minutes ago. But yeah, just for all of you who are online, I just wanted to feature it. It's just a brief walk of vigil, October 5th, 6 p.m. And it should be in your packet this month. And yeah, that's the only briefing I wanted to feature. We also had the city county project updates, right?
Yeah. So John, you gave a general update on sidewalks. I don't know if you have any specific project updates you wanted to share from Tim or anyone else.
By its chart, it's summing out. Marine Street resurfacing is done. Ola and Central, that's FDOT projects under construction. Green Spine, 3 segments, don't ask me what they are. Under construction.
Get on the website. You can put it.
Yeah. 19th Street Neighborhood Greenway is under construction. That's quick build. Oregon Street is in design for public input. Or Nebraska is a shared roadway construction. No, that's right. We're proposing separated bike lanes there.
On Nebraska,
And
because they just painted that, right?
Yeah. Twig Street is, we're doing, gosh, I should show you the map. Now that's downtown is they're reconfiguring that. Also, they're trying to decide about the sidewalk side part of it. But yeah, it's gonna be much.
Yeah, so that was out for public comment, so they haven't made a decision on the.
It's still in design. It looks like the segment, for those of you who are familiar, the block with the, with pizza, Eddie and Sam's Pizza, that instead of, for that section, they're gonna end up just flexing that sidewalk out because the sidewalk's like this wide, and the pizza box is alone and I even blocking.
Yeah, there's outdoor seating.
But that's the main stuff they're working on right now. There's a lot of other projects that are either in design and construction. They're being a little conservative about discussing some things until they know that the funding is getting oriented. But it seems like there is money because city council do a lot more money toward repaving than the city really has capacity to do. So.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Chris, any updates from the county?
I guess the big update is that there's a spot on the Upper Tampa Bay Trail where a culvert was damaged in the hurricanes last year. We've got a little detour around it, but they are getting ready to actually rip it open and replace it. And they were going to start that last week, but it got postponed. But it will. Once they do it, the trail will be closed just at that point between Sheldon and Linebaugh. You won't be able to get from one end to the other. You can go right up to the construction point and turn around and come back from both directions, but you won't be able to get all the way through. They're supposed to actually have a media release when they are going to do it. And when they do it, it'll take about 2 weeks. So if I get that notice, I'll share it with Ben and maybe we can send it out just so people aren't caught by surprise when it happens. Otherwise, we've got Upper Tampa Bay Trail in design right now. There should be public involvement on that in a few months, but we don't have anything specific on that. We also have a PD&E project going on what's called the Adamsville Trail of the South Coast Greenway. There should also be public involvement in coming months, but nothing definite yet.
All right. Any questions for Chris? Any other new business? All right. Being none, we're adjourned. Thank you. Chris.
No, I don't think it was.